Hey guys, and today we are on military base. So this level is very similar to the last two levels, in the sense that there's more Sado Commandos, more Skeleton Soldiers, and more Maso Commandos. But there's also some new enemies this time round, and we're going to be seeing some later on in this level. But first, we have a few enemies to deal with. And you want to just charge over to the enemies in the corner and deal with them quickly. And don't forget that freezer ammo, by the way, because it's very important that you grab that freezer ammo. You are going to need it. But yeah, like, deal with all those enemies. Like, you want to shoot the stakes at the other enemies and deal with the other enemies up close. And with these guys, you use the freezer to kill them, like you always do, because it's Maso Commandos. And yes, you want to shoot that barrel to kill the guy over there, and shoot a stake at this guy, even though I miss, because I have great skills with the Stakegun, as you can tell. But yes, the next area you want to be careful, because there's an enemy that comes out, a Maso Commando. I swear I always get those two confused, but yeah, a Maso Commando starts firing flamethrower at you, and you want to avoid it. So yeah, there's a lot of enemies in this room, and there are multiple ways of dealing with them. I decided to use the shotgun because it's just very effective at dealing with them, but you can also use like other weapons such as stakes and that lot. And I would have said use the Electrodriver, but like depends on how much ammo you have for it, because while it is handy, I'd rather use the shotgun because at this point like we don't really have that much ammo with it. But that's going to change in a minute. There's going to be a ton of enemies coming up here, and they're all Skeleton Soldiers and Maso Commandos. So basically what that means is you want to grab the rocket launcher and start shooting the Skeleton Soldiers, because they take the priority over the Maso Commandos simply because they're charging at you very quickly, and it's very difficult to reach the Maso Commandos when these guys are charging at you. So yes, blow them all up, deal with them, and once you have an opening, then you can bring out the shotgun and start freezing the Maso Commandos. Yeah, and if they get close, you can use the Chaingun. And yeah, finish off the Maso Commandos. Now, if you see those barrels over there, like, I kind of fucked it up because those barrels are gone, but there's a stack of 3 barrels over there. Now you can use those barrels, I try, but I don't get up. But yeah, you can use those barrels to get up there and get the secret, but it's a bit tricky. And I fucked it up, so I didn't get to show the secret. But yeah, you want to blow up this barrel and it will knock the truck down. Somehow that will open the gate. Not exactly sure how that works, but it does. Anyways, there's some Electrodriver ammo here, and you want to grab it, because the Electrodriver is kind of handy in this level, but there's a lot more freedom in terms of choice with weaponry in this level, because there's a lot of weapons that are effective in a lot of situations, but you'll mostly be sticking to the shotgun and the chain gun in this level, because particularly the shotgun freezer, because the freezer is so good in this level, simply because you're fighting against a lot of Maso Commandos. And Sado Commandos are pretty good to deal with using the freezer as well, but yeah. Watch out for that guy. You want to just shoot him twice with the shotgun the moment that you walk in that door. So yeah. Anyways, there's a lot of Sado Commandos and a few Maso Commandos here. Like, I just get blown up by a grenade there. So you want to be careful here. And yeah, it's kind of difficult to find them because they kind of spread out and they kind of move around a lot. So yeah. And they're never all in one place, it seems. So that's one thing I'll say about Painkiller. Like, you can only estimate where they are. You can't exactly know for sure where they're going to be, so yeah, but especially with that section, because it's difficult to tell. But anyways, this section is really tough. You really want to kill those Sado Commandos quickly, because Maso Commandos will start raining down grenades on you. This is where the Maso Commandos start to become more of a threat, as they're really deadly in more closed-in areas, particularly areas like this where they are like on top of something and start shooting grenades down. There's a lot of them. It's not like in Train Station where there's only a couple of them, or like 2 or 3. There's a lot of them here, and they're all shooting grenades down at once. So you really want to be careful, and once you've dealt with all the Sado Commandos, you can really like you can like take your time and deal with the Maso Commandos individually. Just make sure you avoid their grenades. And there's one more Maso Commando down there, you want to deal with him. And once this door opens, there's going to be 3 enemies. 2 Maso Commandos and a Sado Commando. Now you want to just freeze all of them. Now the next area, or the next set of enemies, can easily be dealt with using the Electrodriver. I decided to use the driver for this bit simply because there's barrels in this long corridor and you can shoot them at mid-range to blow up a large chunk of these enemies, so I just think it's more cost effective to use the driver rather than the rather than using the electro, or the electrified shuriken, which is useful in this bit, but I'd rather save it for later. Anyways, there's a Maso Commando here, and there's a Maso Commando up there, and I like to shoot this guy with the Stakegun because he's very easy to hit, and I really want to conserve my freezer ammo, and that's why you'll see me shooting them with stakes a lot, just simply because I need to conserve my ammo. But yeah, you want to be careful here because there's Sado Commandos here, and I always confuse the two. So yeah, there's more Maso Commandos, more Sado Commandos. You know the drill by now, just basically shoot them with the shotgun. There's a lot of the same sort of fight in this area, so you know what to expect by now with these guys. You've fought them for ages, so it's basically the usual thing. But you really want to be careful on... you really want to conserve that freezer ammo because there's a lot of Masos that you have to deal with. And there's even more of them coming up here, so yeah. And yeah, it takes a while to kill those Sado Commandos because they have what seems to be more armor than the regular ones. Or more health, I don't know. But anyways, here's the next new enemy, which is... I don't even think there's a name for it, but... I don't know, like, I call them cannon turrets, or turrets, or... I also like to call them mortars. I don't know why. Maybe because they remind me of mortar teams from Warcraft 3, but yeah. These things are deadly and you want to shoot them very quickly. There's many ways to deal with them, but you can use the shotgun to kill them in 5 hits, believe it or not. Yes, a shotgun can blow up a turret like this. So yeah, you wanna blow it up. And there's also another new enemy, which is tanks. And you know a game's badass when you can take out a tank with 5 shots of the shotgun. Yeah, that's how badass Painkiller is. But yeah, tanks are just as deadly, the only difference is they actually move. So yeah, you want to be careful with those too. But they function the same way as the turrets do, and they just blow you up with giant explosive shells, so you want to be careful. Anyways, there's quite a few skeleton soldiers around here. You can deal with them using the rocket launcher, but you can also use the shotgun as well. There's a health orb here, and once you pick it up, I'm not actually sure if that triggers the enemies, or just simply walking in triggers the enemies. But yeah, there's enemies here, and you can deal with them using the rocket launcher. Now there's a lot of optional enemies in this level, but I'm not going to fight every single one of them because I just want to get through this level simply because I'm playing on trauma, and the payoff really isn't worth it unless you're going for the tarot card. There's a bit of ammo that you can get through it, but trust me, once you get this secret that I'm going to get here, you really won't need much ammo. So yeah, because there's literally, I don't know how many boxes of ammo, 5 boxes of ammo right there. So yeah, you're going to be well stocked on ammo once you go through that secret. But yeah, you also get some gold armor and some super health, which makes you ready for pretty much the rest of the level. Once you get that, then yeah, you're all set. But be careful because the next area, and I'm going back here because I don't want to get hit by that tank. Yeah, there's more tanks, there's more skeleton soldiers, so shooting them at like a good range is usually the best way to deal with the skeleton soldiers. And yeah, you want to avoid those tanks. And I'm trying to use the plane as cover just to get around, to get to a better vantage point so that I don't have to deal with those tanks. Because tanks are very slow and it's difficult for them to catch up to you, whereas skeleton soldiers are very fast, so you can really break them up. Now, yeah, there's always that one straggler that you have to deal with. Now, I don't recommend using the Stakegun, as you can see here, and for good reason. This is exactly why I don't recommend using it, because it's very difficult to hit these buggers. Like, it really is difficult to hit these buggers. But it is satisfying when you do hit them. Still, you really want to use the shotgun to deal with these tanks. It's not like you have very little shotgun ammo, you have plenty of shotgun ammo, but it's just the freezer ammo that you have to be careful with. Because you have plenty of shotgun ammo, just not much freezer ammo. But yeah, there's plenty of ammo that you get from the ammo boxes there, and you want to grab them, especially if it's on trauma, because you're going to need the health and the ammo. Anyways, yeah, there's more skeleton soldiers to deal with, and I just use the shotgun because they're all spread out. And there's another one over here, and he seems to be stuck. So I make his life easier for him by ending it. Anyways, yeah, that's just a barrel, but there is another ammo crate which has chaingun ammo if you need it, and it's right underneath that little tank over there. I don't grab it because I have full ammo, but it's just there if you need it. Anyways, we're going back into the more closed in areas now, so bring out the shotgun and get ready for some enemies, because there's some Maso Commandos coming your way. And there's some Sado Commandos through the room over here. Now there's going to be Sado Commandos coming down from the stairs, so you really have to be careful. There's multiple ways of dealing with these guys. You can use the Electrodriver combo if you have the ammo to use it. You can use the shotgun. I decided to use the shotgun because I thought that I could deal with them without getting hit too much, but I kind of underestimated them, so yeah, I got a bit screwed there. Anyways, use the freezer, kill all the enemies around here. There's some Maso Commando to kill him, and then you really want to bring out the Electrodriver for this bit, because skeleton soldiers will start charging at you here, and since you're not at long range, you really have to use the Electrodriver combo. That's what it's for dealing with large groups of enemies at close range, and it does it very well. So yes, you want to deal with them using that. I mean, if you go backwards, you probably can kill them with the rocket launcher, but it's a bit risky. So yeah, as you might end up hitting yourself. So yeah, just blow this guy up with the Stakegun to save some freezer ammo, and activate the gate controls. I like how there's a checkpoint there where the gate control thing is. But yeah, there's another checkpoint here as well. So yeah, there's another one of these turrets here. You want to deal with it quickly. For some reason, well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know, but it seems to me that the rockets don't deal as much damage to it as the shotgun does. I don't know, maybe it does, but I just tend to find the shotgun the most effective way of dealing with those enemies. The same thing with the tanks as well. I don't know why, but I just find that it works best. I haven't really taken time to calculate it because there's just so much action going on, but yeah. There's also a lot of enemies in this section, so you really want to pull out the rocket launcher chain gun for this. There's a secret back here, be sure to grab it if you're looking for all the secrets. It's just a holy item though, nothing special. But it can buy you some tarot cards if you don't have them all already, but if you're playing on trauma like I am, you should have them by now. But, well, it's not really buying tarot cards, it's equipping them. But I have I think I have 11,000 gold at this point. I'm not starved for gold, so it's not that big of a deal for me, so yeah. The thing about gold in this game is it's not really, it's important to get it early on, but later on you'll have tons of it, because it's just so easy to get it. But there are ways of grinding gold if you really need to. So yeah, but by this point I have tons of it. But yeah, there's some Sado Commandos there. You can blow them up with the, well, not the chain gun, but the rocket launcher. You can use the chain gun if you like, but you might as well use the rocket launcher because they're all grouped up and they're all from afar, so it's just a lot easier. Yep, you want to deal with that turret, and there's more Sado Commandos coming up. As you can see with those explosions, you can tell just how deadly those things are. You want to stay away from them. You want to always keep an eye out for them when you're fighting against these guys, because they're going to be shooting at you. Same with the tanks. But yes, blow them all up. Shoot them with the chain gun if you want to mix things up, which is always fun. Not that it's important to do that, but I'm getting a bit low on rockets, so I'm just mixing things up a little bit. And also, be aware that Maso Commandos aren't, like, they're kind of resistant to rockets. So you want to use the shotgun for those, and the freezer. That's the tricky thing about Maso Commandos. Best way to deal with them is the shotgun freezer combo, but yeah, you can also use the Stakegun if you good with it, but... Or the Chaingun works. But yeah, I want to deal with this Sado Commando here. And yeah, as you can see, my amazing Stakegun skills still haven't improved. Yeah, it's difficult trying to hit that freaking weapon of his, but it's literally the only way I can do this because I need to conserve my freezer ammo, and then I get blown up by one of the turrets, or I think it's a tank that I get blown up with. Yeah, I get blown up by a tank. So yeah, as you can see, you can blow up the tanks just by shooting them with the shotgun, believe it or not. And yeah, there's another Sado Commando. Like, those Sado Commandos on the planes are really annoying. Anyways, I decided to shoot them with stakes, just to mix things up, which is kind of amusing how you can blow up a giant tank with a piece of wood, like a spiked piece of wood. You can also blow up a turret with a spiked piece of wood. I guess it does set on fire when it goes up high velocity, like when it gets to a longer range, like it builds up momentum and sets it on fire to deal more damage if you pay attention. So I suppose that kind of fucks it up, but yeah, it's just so funny how a stick can destroy a machine, but that's Painkiller logic for you. But yeah, these guys on the freaking planes are annoying because they're so hard to hit, and you can't really concentrate on them when you're dealing with tanks and turrets, so you really have to be careful. But yeah, that guy's dead, and we need to deal with this guy over here as well. And as you can see, yeah, you have to constantly be moving and staking if you're going to use the Stakegun. I would recommend, if you're not good with the Stakegun like I am, use the Chaingun on those guys, because it's so difficult to hit them when you're moving and shooting, because it's not the easiest thing to do, believe me. Anyways, yeah, these are tough Sado Commandos, so you want to deal with them. And there's another turret here, so just blow it up with whatever you want to use. And I decided to use the Stakegun, but I just have to get some, just to change my position a little so that I can, yeah, there we go. And that's that long battle over and done with. So yeah, there is another secret which you can get through that doorway. I don't bother to get it because there's a lot of enemies that you have to kill, so I just can't be bothered. I did show it in my original playthrough of the game, like when I did it, but if you want to see that original playthrough, then you're going to have to watch it on Cynical Gaming blog, because it's unlisted on my channel. So it is on the website though, you can see it there. It's non-commentary and you'll be able to see me going through it. You can also see me getting some of the other secrets in this level as well. But yes, this area is a bit more open, but it's also a bit closed in, so you have a lot of options here. You can use the Electrodriver, very effective here, and you can also use the rocket launcher when they're further away, so you can really mix things up here. It's a pretty interesting area for that reason, but yeah, I'm going to end up using the shotgun here. Shotgun freezer, deal with that Maso mainly, but I ended up getting some Sado Commandos instead. It's interesting because Maso Commandos have a really small but significant explosion radius. And yeah, you want to be careful when you're too close to them. But it can also work in your favour because you can also blow up multiple Maso Commandos with the... Did I say Maso Commandos the first time? I don't even know if I did. But yeah, you can kill multiple Maso Commandos with the shotgun freezer if they're close by enough. So yeah. And yeah, that guy decided to jump into my gunfire. Not a very smart move right there. These demons aren't very smart. That's one thing I'll definitely say. No wonder they died in the military. I suppose that's karma for committing war crimes. Yeah, that's kind of the story of these enemies. They're basically war criminals. It's like, I don't know, like, Sado Commandos seem to be like, kind of like terrorists, because they kind of have a I don't know if it's a ball gag or something. They have something in their mouths, and it's kind of like a mine that they throw at you. Like the mines that they place on the ground, they basically take them from their mouth. They're basically gimps. That's the silly thing. They look like gimps. But yeah, the Maso Commandos, they're basically like, they're Mesos because they're masochistic, because they can basically take all of your hits, and they just love killing. They're kind of like psychopaths, whereas Sado Commandos, I don't know, like, they're just kind of like terrorists, maybe? I'm not too sure on the story, but it's just my specification, like, well, not specification, it's just my speculation. And I'm getting words wrong again. Great. But yeah, there's more enemies over here. And there's lots and lots of skeleton soldiers, so the rocket launcher is the best way of dealing with these guys. And you can use the Chaingun to deal with the missiles because they're long range, and it's a lot easier to hit them with the Chaingun at long range because, yeah, you can aim a lot easier, and at least that's how I find it. You can also use the Electrodriver, or the driver. You can really mix things up here. But yeah, there's going to be more rooms filled with enemies. Here comes another room, and there's some more ammo back here. But yeah, it's really difficult for me to keep up with this game commentary-wise. But yeah, there's tanks here, and the best way to deal with these tanks is to go up here, and as they'll all be shooting at you from range. I think the best way of dealing with these guys, I'm not exactly sure, but I think the best way of dealing with these guys, considering the situation, is probably the Electrodriver. Like, yeah, I don't know why I used the Electrodriver combo there, and it only hit one of them, but I don't know, I have plenty of Electrodriver ammo, and somehow shurikens can blow up a tank, believe it or not. So, yeah, that's something to take note of. Next time I fight a tank, I'm going to use shurikens to blow it up. That's one way of dealing with them, I guess. But yes. There's some health here if you need it, and there's also an armor, and yeah. But if you got the secret, you really shouldn't need it, unless you really struggled in the last few fights. But yeah, there's a Maso Commando, there's some Sado Commandos here, and yeah, trying to use the Electrodriver to deal with them, and yeah, this is the last area of the level, so you can use the shotgun freezer combo to deal with the rest of them. But yeah, I'm out of Electrodriver ammo. But there's tons of enemies down there, and they're all coming up, so I could just go down there and use the Electro to kill all of them, but why would I? Like, I can just use the rocket launcher and blow them all up, so, yeah. And the reason why I'm bunny hopping to left and right is because these guys can shoot you, so it's just a way of avoiding their attacks. And bear in mind that they still can use the grenades that they shoot out, well, not shoot out, but they throw at you, the gas grenades. And, yeah, that's the end of the level. Now, it's interesting to see that they kind of have yeah, it's a communist military base. So, yeah, that's the end of the level. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.